Hey y'all, this is the Treacherous Slayer coming at y'all another video, and before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Now today y'all, we're getting into Dexter Resurrection episode 9, Touched by an Angel, and y'all, this was one crazy ass episode, and I'm just going to discuss the highlights of it and the build up to that awesome climax, and I cannot wait to the finale, y'all. So let's get straight to it. The beginning of the episode is just, picks up where it left off from episode 8, which Leon confronted Ginger Snap at the restaurant and introduced himself to Harrison. And Harrison was like, oh, I didn't know you knew Leon. And, Leon just fishing for information, like, who the hell are you? And I didn't know Red had a son, his famous line. And he just tells him his name is Harrison and asks him if he's in school and anything. And Ginger Snap quickly does it. She's like, no, Leon, can I talk to you outside, because we need to have a quick discussion. And you see Charley lurking in the back, just minding her business, just waiting to defend Leon. And this pisses Ginger Snap off, and he's just ready to cut ties with this whole group. And Leon just asks him, like, I don't like being surprised, Red, and I like when people are upfront with me. And Ginger Snap snaps on him, like, yeah, and I expect the same treatment, and like I told you, stay the hell away from my son. And he was like, okay, calm down, no harm's gonna come to Harrison. It's just why you didn't tell me you had one. Because like he said, he wants to keep that life separate. Some things just don't need to be said and need to be kept private. So Leon lets him off the hook by sugarcoating it, saying that Charley had her suspicions about him anyway, so she's the main one who wanted to find out more about him. And we see someone in the background taking photos of Ginger Snap and Leon leaving the restaurant as they have their little chit chat. And obviously, I could put two and two together. It's obviously Batista's talking ass, so he can never catch a clue. Then we see Ginger Snap going back to the restaurant and getting Harrison the hell out of there. And Harrison's like, wait, where the hell are we going? Like, okay, what's going on? And Ginger Snap finally has to come clean with him and say, look, the reason why he called me Red is because I was impersonating the dark passenger serial killer. I know you've seen him on the news, the one who kills your car drivers. And he puts two and two together and tells him that Leon's not the man he thinks he is. Yeah, he might be a successful billionaire, but that's just a facade. And he tells him he just infiltrated a group as Red to bop and flop the other serial killers. So Harrison's absorbed all this information, like, wait, so you taken out a few of them already? Like, which ones have you met? And I can't believe you've been doing this whole time. I'm like, right, yeah, you definitely been out of the loop, Harrison. So he tells him he bopped and flop, Lowell the tattoo collector, and got Mia arrested. Obviously, we know that. And he about to fight the Gemini killers. And Harrison was like, wait, the Gemini killer? And he was like, no, killers, they're twins. So Harrison's impressed that he's been doing all this work. And he quickly tells them, like, no harm will come to them. And he's going to protect Harrison. As they make it to the subway, we see Batista ask for hot on a trail. I'm like, he just don't know when to quit, y'all. And Harrison's like, wait, this is what happened with Mom and the Trinity Killer. Like, I could be in danger. I nearly got killed that last time, too. So what are you going to do? He was like, I promise you no harm is going to come to you now. We're going to split up right here, just in case someone's following us. And Batista's annoying ass was following them the whole time. So Ginger Snap quickly goes home to prepare his attack on Charley and Leon. Amidst all this, we see Harrison going to work, and his friend tells him when he's getting ready for his shift that Leon's arranging this quick little job opportunity for waiters to come make $40 an hour, and he should definitely come, and he sees the opportunity. And Harrison just brushes it off like, and I'll pass on that one. You have fun with that, walking around his mansion and all. So Harrison's boss comes, tells him that someone requested for him specifically for room service, and he goes up to the room, and y'all, it's Charley, obviously getting information out of him to see where he comes from and if he's truly related to Red. So we see Ginger Snap cooking him some lunch or whatever, and then Harrison calls him like, look, Dad, Charley just vetted me and I'm scared as hell, so what do I do? And then Ginger Snap tells him, okay, go into detail, like, what did she ask you? And she was just asking him, like, okay, since you're Red's son, how come your last name is just Schmidt? Why is it Morgan? So obviously, she already know that he's Harrison Morgan, so this pisses Ginger Snap off as we hear his inner monologue, like, right, one step close to the truth. And Harrison just gives her this like, makeshift backstory, which somewhat is true, like how Red abandoned him when he was 5, and his mom moved around a lot, and they ended up in Chicago and stuff, and he found an old letter that Red sent to his mom, and that's how he tracked him down to New York, and she was like, wow, you're very resourceful. And he slips and says he was disappointed when he found out his dad was a middle-aged year car driver. That she laughs, and he asks Ginger Snap, why the hell did she laugh at that? Like, did I say mess up? He was like, no, you actually did fine, because telling a good lie can prove to be a believable truth in a sense to those who will believe it. So he makes up a plan to make Harrison come to his place for safety to hide out and lay low for a while, since now he has to go do his homework and give Charley a reality check. And he quickly goes and makes up a Blessing and explains to Blessing, like, look, he knows he stepped out a place and talked too much, but it was probably due to Joy's good acupuncture that his tongue got a little loose and spilled the beans, so don't take it to heart, but I really am sorry. And Blessing accepts his apology. They make up, and then he asks his Blessing a favor to pick up Harrison after work to further protect him and keep him distracted from what he's doing his homework. So he asks Harrison to send him some details, obviously, of the hotel records so he can track down Charley. Y'all, he finds Charley place quick as hell. He finds out that she's took some glasses that Harrison touched and lifted the fingerprints, and we see Harry's ghost like, oh hell no, like she's fucking with your son, you need to handle this shit like ASAP. And he sees this like wheelchair contraption attached to a wall by her staircase, and then he goes upstairs and he sees her sick mother in the bed. And we also see Charley thinking shit is sweet, you know, out and about, getting her some flowers for her mom. And obviously, since we see Ginger Snap makes up his mind, like, nah, now I gotta handle her ass. Like, now I see what's her weak spot. So she gets back to her car. Y'all, this part was crazy. I really thought he was gonna bop and flop Charley. He quickly uses Red's persona and uses that saw cutting wire and put it around her neck and tells her to drive. And she was reaching for her clip. I'm like, oh, you gotta be quicker than that, girl. He told you to put it in the passenger seat where he could see it. So you can't use this. He was too slow, girl. He was too slow. So he made her put her gun down. She was like, what do you want? So he tells her, like, I learned that you fought for your country, you and your mother. You even earned a civil medal. So how did a hero like you end up working for such a creep like Prater? And then she goes into detail and tell him, well, my mom got badly ill, and he was the only one who found specialists and could afford specialists to take care of her, and I didn't really have any resources. And then she asks him, like, okay, did you hurt my mother? And he kind of dodges the question a little bit just to, you know, taunt her. But he tells her no, like, because I'm not like that. That's not my style. And you should know how scared you're feeling right now. That's how I felt when you confronted my son. So let this be a lesson and a reality check for that ass. Don't come near me or my son again, or I will saw your head clean off. So Ginger Snap is standing on business, and Charley gets the message. And we see Batista's annoying ass going back to Detective Claude and Oliver and telling them that he got evidence on Ginger Snap being a Bay Harbor butcher. And you can tell this is not going to end well. Y'all, Detective Claude just tells me, yeah, I also talked to Detective Quinn as well, and he said you were no longer a captain, so you're violating plenty of New York codes right now, and you're basically harassing Ginger Snap, so if you don't stop, go clean out your hotel and so, you will be arrested. So you can't pursue this case anymore, and just go home. And he still tries to pursue it, but then Oliver stops him like, okay, also give me your badge, because you're delusional at this point. So he gives Oliver his badge, and Batista's just distraught and feeling defeated that no one's listening to the truth. And he just storms out, but right before he leaves, he sees Leon's photo on the police gala poster board. I'm like, oh great, this ain't gonna. So we know that look in his eyes, he's gonna go straight to Leon's area as he's keep looking at that phone while asking why the hell him and Dexter are in the same photo. So Ginger Snap goes home and meets up with Harrison to check on him, make sure he's safe and sound, and he interrupts him and Gigi's quickie. I'm like that. They just hot and ready, y'all. And he says, "Oh, Gigina." He just butchers her name. She's it's actually Gigi. And they have a little quick, witty conversation. And I would say I like their bond. And like I said, Harrison not being so jittery all the damn time, finally moving on from that side of himself. And she brings up that, oh yeah, Harrison said, Mr. Morgan, that you used to be a blood splatter analyst for the forensics team. And Harrison interjects and says, yeah, my dad actually helped put away a lot of murderers, so it's definitely a good career. And like Ginger Snap chimes in and says, yeah, we're the guys that truly get it done, the forensics team, so it's actually a good team to be a part of. And she tries to make a joke and saying that one of her professors brought up the fact that this blood splatter technique has been debunked, and Harrison throws a side shot at Ginger Snap and tells him, well, my dad actually mastered that crap back in the 1900s, and then we hear Ginger Snap's ego take a blow like, damn, I guess this was getting old, looks like. And I'm glad now, Ginger Snap is not that old. Harrison, you dead ass wrong for doing your daddy like that. And he suggests they play cards or whatever. And Gigi's like, oh hell no, we not doing that. She's like, I want to go back to my place and finish what we started. And Ginger Snap obviously quickly goes to the kitchen and gonna clean up real quick. And she says can she go to the bathroom? And Harrison asks, can I go to Gigi's place? Would that be okay? And he's like, actually, yeah, since Leon doesn't know where I live yet, and they're completely unaware of Gigi, so you should definitely go there and lay low while I handle Leon and Charley. And we see Ginger Snap calling Leon as Leon is fanboying over Charley's wound and her near-death encounter with Ginger Snap, and then tried to touch her neck. And she jumped back like, oh, are you serious right now? And he was like, wow, amazing. And she just tries to pour out her heart in terms of how terrified she was in that moment. He just like say, oh, how's your mother? Like, this evil son of a bitch, he does not care about her well-being at all. He just looks at her like another hired gun. So I'm interested to see how this character dynamic is gonna end in the finale. Y'all let me know down in the comments, like, do y'all think Charley is gonna turn on Leon? Because I know it's kind of looking that way. So Ginger Snap calls Leon and he was like, oh wow, speaking of the devil. Like, hello, Red, so how are you? He was like, well, I see that you injured my right hand. And he was telling him, like, well, I wanted you to see how serious I am about keeping Harrison away from this lifestyle. And he was like, okay, I agree. I get the message, since obviously Charley was the message. So, don't worry, she won't be vetting him like that ever again. So what can I do for you? And then you just not ask, can they meet for that conversation that they always wanted to have, that DU conversation about having no more secrets. And obviously we know this is Ginger Snap's plan to completely bop and flop Leon. I don't know how this is gonna boil over, y'all. Leon agrees, tells him to go through the private elevator since he has to do some gala preparation still for the next day. And Ginger Snap is just locked and loaded and ready to go. And y'all, this episode is like so intense. Like, I can't believe what happens next. So the next day rolls around and Batista's erratic, just impulsive ass goes to Leon's place and tells the security guard, like, look, I'm a Miami captain and I have a message that Leon is in danger. Like, I need to talk to him. And then the security guard is obviously thinking he's just some crazed stalker guy and tells him, like, no, you need to get the hell out of here. And then Batista tells him, get your hands off me. And then he pushes Batista. Then they all start to get to scuffling. He started throwing 2 pieces and biscuits around to the squad team. And then Charley comes to death that shit like, now what the hell is you over here shouting about that my boss is in danger? So he goes to talk to Leon and Charley and officer. I was like, oh my gosh, my nerves. And he quickly brings up, can I have my phone back, please? And he shows them a photo that he took of him and Dexter. And he says, how do you know this person? And Leon was like, you mean Mr. Schmidt? He was like, no, Dexter Morgan. I worked with him in Miami for 20 years. And he does a shocked glance towards Charley. And Charley looks at Leon as like, look, I told your ass that he was lying all this time. See what happens when you don't listen to me? So I just love that look on her face. Like, I told you so. You didn't damn listen to me. And so here we are in this boat. So speed things up. Here comes Ginger Snap with preparing to bop and flop Leon. He goes to the elevator, goes to his place, and Leon's like, hello, friend. Been expecting you. And you can tell by his song, like, I'm shocked Ginger Snap didn't peep all this stuff that was happening. He didn't sense the tension in the air at all, because he was saying if there is a guy that can provide him some armor, he definitely needs it in his moment, because he's facing the big bad at this point, because Leon, like, he's too unpredictable. You don't know what's next. So Leon tells him, okay, actually follow me to the vault where we can have this conversation privately, because I feel like it'll be the best place. Also, before we can start, just to clear the air, Dexter Morgan, Ginger Snap's like, oh shit. And then here comes Charley with her clip, like, keep your hands where I can see them. Right at the back of his head, and then she sniffs him. And then we hear his inner monologue say, okay, I'll be calm. I'm like, damn, now he caught up. So she takes his phone and his knife off him and then just kicks him into the vault. And then we see Leon just, fanboying like, Dexter Morgan, I should have known, like, who you were. So it all makes sense now. So he puts two and two together and says, like, you bopped and flop Lowell, the tattoo collector, and had me arrested, and you dealt with the Gemini killer. So you're the Bay Harbor Butcher. That he just saying how it just gives him chills, and he gives him a proposition saying, how about this? Can we continue your legacy by me utilizing my resources, since he explains that he has a long list of all the serial killers who bring harm to innocents, and he can spend a week with them and officially bop and flop them. How does that sound? And Ginger Snap's obviously like not liking this plan. Obviously, what's the catch? And he's just confused, like, what the hell are we doing here? Since Batista is taped and gagged and on a kill table. I'm like, this is just so horrible, full circle. And he says, well, obviously, this is the price you have to pay. You have to bop and flop Batista in order to remain safe and keep doing what you do best. So this is one of the most worst situations Ginger Snap could have ended up in. And he grabs the knife that Prater suggested to him. And he was about to bop and flop Batista as he held the knife over, and Batista's eyes just consumed in horror as he shakes his head like, please don't do it. And Ginger Snap thinking to himself, saying he hopes that since him and Batista have a strong bond like they did in the past, that he'll work with him. So he decides to roll the dice and cut the straps off the kill table and let Batista free, hoping they could fight against Charley and Leon. And y'all, all hell breaks loose as he does this. And why the hell Batista just lets his rage and vengeance consume him as he starts to strangle Ginger Snap to the ground. And he was like, so much for the bond. Right, because you still let your rage consume you at this point. Like, you should have tried to get the hell out of the situation, which he probably should have did, because y'all, like I predicted, he sealed his fate because Leon takes Charley's gun and sets off some shots into Batista's back. He just sprays him in the back a couple times. So he even shoots at Ginger Snap, and Ginger Snap dodges a shot, and Charley quickly grabs Leon. They try to run out of the vault, and Ginger Snap grabs this axe off the wall and tries to throw it their direction to, like, wound them. And then he rushes towards the exit, but then Leon waves at him goodbye and shuts it closed. So y'all, that was intense. And he goes to check on Batista, and Batista's just bleeding out, just looking pitiful. I'm just like, sir, you should have just did what you could have did, just work for Ginger Snap at the moment and then get the hell out of that situation. But no, you just let your vengeance consume you. So Ginger Snap confessed to him, like, yeah, I may be the Bay Harbor Butcher, but I didn't kill Maria or Dokes. Like, those are just circumstantial collateral damage. I didn't have no power in that. And Batista just tells him, well, this is all your fault. This is your fault why I'm dying this way, and all this is on you. And Ginger Snap just apologizes. Then he waits for Batista's last words, and Batista just says, "Dexter Morgan, fuck you," and dies. I'm like, boy, you just fucked yourself, because you just got shot in the back for what? Like, well, you could have just worked with Ginger Snap and got the hell out of that situation. Then we just see Ginger Snap's rage consume him. And then that's how the episode Touched by an Angel ends, y'all. Now, I already watched the season finale teaser for the finale of this epic season, y'all. Like, the storyline is so strong, and I'm loving every minute of it. And I think Charley's gonna be fed up with Leon's bullshit, and she's gonna have to aid Harrison into getting Ginger Snap out of that situation, trapped in the vault. So I'm interested to see who's gonna deliver the final blow to Leon. Is it gonna be Charley, or will it be Harrison? Hell, even Detective Claw now, because this could end really bad. Like, I think, especially if Detective Claude and Oliver catch whim of Ginger Snap being at that gala. No, they're not even part of the force and everything, so I don't know. Since we already know she's consumed with the New York Ripper case, and she's taking Dexter's advice by looking into a different weapon that the New York Ripper mainly used. So I don't know how this is gonna go. Like, because from the teaser, it looks like Harrison makes it to the vault, but I don't know, will he be able to get his father out? This is gonna be crazy, y'all. Y'all let me know down in the comments how y'all think this season finale is gonna end. Like, do y'all think Charley's gonna turn on Leon and team up with Ginger Snap for the next season and protect Harrison and him? Or do you think the New York Ripper will be revealed in the finale as well? Y'all let me know down in the comments. So I'm Treacherous Slayer, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.